So, with your drinking problem before you got your DUIs, did you go to bars a lot? Did you go out drinking with friends? Or could you tell me about what you did before going to court?
Yeah, I have friends that like to drink and party, and they're fun to be around. And so I just got tied up into that crowd, and I liked it. And so then I started getting into problems and couldn't stop.
So, on average, how many times would you go to the bar a week or
Every night,
every night? And what time would you leave the bar?
when it closed.
Okay. And what would you do when you would come home?
Um, Pass out. Sometimes I would eat and then go pass out.
And do you have to work the next day most days or
Yes,
um
for the weekends.
so what is your job? Could you tell me what you do?
I'm a secretary.
Okay. And does your staying up late at bars and drinking affect how you are able to do your job?
Yes, um, I could be more focused. Um, I tend to be more crabby with others and short tempered, just because I'm tired and hungover.
So what you're saying is sometimes you can lose your temper with coworkers or family or friends and you don't mean to, but you're tired, so it just happens.
Yes.
So, do you always, could you tell me about how you go about like alleviating that anger when you blow up?
I just yell. I really don't alleviate it. I just go back to drinking again.
So, what you're saying is when you get like, I don't want to say crabby, but angry and frustrated, you just want to go back to drinking.
Yes.
But if you're at work, you can't do that, so then it makes you more irritated.
Yes.
Okay. So when you get home, how soon do you start drinking?
Immediately.
Okay. What I know you mentioned you had an eating problem too. So what does that look like?
I just find myself just mindlessly eating because I can't control it. I can't. I have no self control. It's just another way to cope with all of the stress in my life.
So tell me, do you eat and drink, or do you drink one night, eat the other night, or how does that work?
Sometimes I will start off drinking and then I just start eating and don't even know what I'm doing. Sometimes, yeah, I come home and if there's something that I like to eat, I'll just eat, and that's all I do.
Okay. So eating and drinking are a coping method for alleviating stress.
Yes.
So, what are some ways that you could like not eat or drink? Like, what could you do instead of eating?
I could pick up a book or a magazine. Um, and maybe I could just lay down and meditate, just do some deep breathing, um, something to just help me to relax other than alcohol, and maybe some quiet time.
So, plus quiet time. Tell me about how maybe your kids could help you with that.
Maybe if they would have supper made or something when I come home, so that that's not the first thing that I need to do, or pick up after themselves, or clean up the kitchen. Just things that I feel like I'm responsible for, and I can't do it all, and it's just another stressor. I feel guilty if I don't do it, and then I get to the point where I don't care, and then that leads to the drinking or the eating, and I just can't stop.
So, what you're telling me is when you come home from work, you feel like you have to either make something to eat or clean the house or make sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it's just causing you a lot of stress and anxiety.
Yes.
And you feel like if the kids did their stuff that they're supposed to do, when you come home, you wouldn't think that there's nothing you could do about it. Instead, it would already be done, and therefore you wouldn't have to think about doing it.
Yes.
So then it would
That
ease
would
the
help a lot.
stress.
Yes.
Okay. So I definitely think we should bring in family, see what they can do on their end and what you can do on your end. Um, so do you tell me how you think by having supper made, dishes done, house cleaned, how would that stop you from like eating or drinking?
It's just nice to come home and that stuff is done after I have been working all day, and I am just constantly on the go, and I don't think I have any time for myself, and maybe then I would have some time for myself so that I could go do some things without feeling guilty.
So tell me about what your kids do on a daily basis.
They go to school, they come home, and I know that they have homework. They're usually pretty good about doing that right away. Um, but then they can tend to just slack off and be on their phones, just doing mindless things. Um, I don't know if I need to delegate more responsibility to them to do things, or just sit down and talk about it, or what I need to do.
Okay. So tell me, do you have any problems with getting your kids to do certain things? Do they listen to you, or do you find yourself getting angry and yelling, like you said, when you go to work? Sometimes you're upset because you're tired and hungover. Do you have that problem when you come home too?
Yes, yes.
And what what causes the arguments? Like, could you tell me about?
Um, I guess I expect certain things to be done in a timely manner, and that doesn't happen. And sometimes it's just because they just don't want to, or they don't care, or they're tired and crabby, and it just we just butt heads
Okay.
some days.
So, you think if you could get a schedule, say, get a schedule in place, you think that it would help a lot?
If everybody sticks to the schedule.
And what would you want that schedule to look like?
Oh boy. Um, guess on certain days, one person be responsible for cooking. Another day, maybe for just cleaning up, picking up. Um, just assign different duties to everybody, and they're just going to have to be responsible to do it
Okay.
and not argue and complain. And
So more of like a chore chart you're thinking of, like just writing everything down and checking it off when everything's done and just making sure it gets done.
yeah, that would help.
So do you think your family would stick with this schedule, or do you think they would fall out of line, or
Yes and no.
tell me about why you think that?
Um, Sometimes it's easy to start off, but it's hard to stick with a schedule. Things happen. Meetings happen. They have school events. It just all plays a part in it.
And what do you think you could do to work around that?
Probably communicate better. My feelings, and they probably need to communicate better their feelings.
Mhm. Okay, so what you've told me today is you have a lot of stressors in your life, which is causing you to have anxiety and depression. And to cope with your anxiety and depression, you have resorted to drinking and eating. And you think that if you can help alleviate those stressors, then it will help with the rest that follows. So I think next time we will bring in your family, talk about a schedule that everybody can get on, how they can stick to it, and possibly different coping skills that you can continue or try to see if those help. So,
Okay.
all right, well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.